Welcome students. As promised, today we will discuss the analysis of a frame having a hinge at one of its ends, hinge or roller, whatever it is. And we have seen this type of numericals, they are there in your examination quite frequently. Let us consider the frame which is fixed at A and hinge or roller at B, C and D. As far as beam is concerned, it makes no difference whether it's a hinge or roller unless and until there is an inclined load. Let us consider the AB portion is loaded with a load of 6 kilonewton per meter. At BC, there is an eccentric load of 18 kilonewton, and between CD, let us consider there is a moment which is anti-clockwise in nature, and the magnitude of the moment is 16 kilonewton meter. Between CD, let us decide that the length of AB is 3 meters, length of BC is 2 meter and 1 meter, and length of CD is 1.5 meter and 1.5 meter. So these are the lengths. All the beams are of same length, 3 meter, and let us consider that I for AB is I, moment of inertia. For BC, it is 1.5 I, and for CD, let us say it is 2I. We have to analyze the beam using moment distribution method and plot the BMD. These types of problems you will see most of the time in your examination, university examination. Now, what is the first step? The first step, step 1 is not a degree of kinematic indeterminacy. Yes, it's not degree of kinematic indeterminacy. The first step is determination of distribution factor. First step is determination of distribution factors. Determination of distribution factors. Okay, we have to find out how much is the contribution by each member at every joint, and then we have to determine what will be the distribution factor for moments acting in every member. Okay, moments acting at joint in every member. So for distribution factor, we know we have to write joint, then member. We have to plot a table. Joint A, there are 4 joints, joint B, joint C and joint D. For joint A, there is only one member, AB. For joint B, there are 2 members, BA and BC. For joint C, there are 2 members, CB and CD. And for joint D, there is only one member. So I am plotting a table like this, joint wise table for B, PA and BC, CB and CD. So I am plotting this like this. Right. So this is my member, joint member. Now I need to calculate relative stiffness of every member. Now my question is, what is the relative stiffness of member AB? Yes, what is the relative stiffness of member AB? Relative stiffness of member AB, yes, you have guessed it right, is equal to I by L. I by L, since I is I and L is 3, it is I by 3. So for member AB, it is I by L. The rule for relative stiffness is, if neither end is hinged, it is I by L. If either of the ends is hinged or roller, it is 3I by 4L. But all the internal joints are considered to be fixed, and that is why it is I by 3. Similarly, AB and BA are the same members, so relative stiffness for BA is also I by 3. Now what is the relative stiffness of BC? Relative stiffness of BC, again we are applying the rule when neither end is hinged. You will wonder why I am saying neither end is hinged, but neither ends are hinged, because B and C, though they are hinged, they are internal ends, and that is why they are considered to be fixed. So it is again the first rule, I by L. I for BC is 1.5 I and L is 3. So 1.5 I, BC and CB are same members. So 1.5 I by 3. So that is what I can see, that is joint A, joint B. Okay, BC and CB are same members. So 1.5 I by 3. Now what about CD member? Yes, you have judged it right. The relative stiffness for CD, we have to apply the second rule, 3I by 4L. 3I by 4L. Why? Because the one end is hinged. If either of the ends are hinged, it is 3I by 4L. So I am writing 3 into 2I divided by 4 into length is 3. Again 3 into 2I divided by 4 into 3. So this is my relative stiffness for the joints, for the members AB, BA, BC, CB, CD and DC. These members are same. Now I will calculate total relative stiffness. Now all of us know total relative stiffness is stiffness at the member, stiffness at the joint and not at the member. So what is the total relative stiffness at joint A? At joint A there is only one member AB. So total relative stiffness is I by 3. I will write I by 3 is 0.33I. Total relative stiffness. Now what is the total relative stiffness at joint B? It is nothing but I am just calculating for joint B. I am just calculating for joint B I by 3 plus the total relative stiffness 1.5I divided by 3. I by 3 plus 1.5I divided by 3, that comes out to be 0.833I. I by 3 that is 0.33 and 0.5 that is 0.833. So I am writing 0.83I. My friends, I am just calculating up to 2 decimals. So total relative stiffness at joint A is 0.33I. Total relative stiffness at joint B is 0.833I. Now what is the total relative stiffness at joint C? Again I am calculating 1.5 divided by 3 plus this is 3 will get cancelled. So 2I by 4 that is I by 2. 1 divided by 2 bracket complete. That again comes out to be 1.5 by 3 is 0.5 and this is also 0.5. So that is I. This total relative stiffness is 1I. This total relative stiffness is 1I and now this is again 0.5I. 3I by 5, 3 will get cancelled. So total relative stiffness is 0.5I. So total relative stiffness at all the joints at joint A is connected by only one member AB. So relative stiffness of member AB will be total relative stiffness of joint A. B is connected by BA and BC. So relative stiffnesses of BA and BC if added I will get this value. Similarly C is connected by CB and CD. So relative stiffnesses of CB and CD added I will get this value. This is 0.5. This is also 0.5. So total is I. And D is connected by only one member DC and that is why total relative stiffness of joint D is 0.5I. Let me revise. Relative stiffness is a term used for a member AB, BA, BC, CB, CD, DC and total relative stiffness is a term used for a joint and all of us know the distribution factor. Now how to calculate distribution factor? Distribution factor is calculated as relative distribution factor is calculated for a member and distribution factor for a member is relative stiffness of the member divided by total relative stiffness of the joint. Since this is I by 3 and this is 0.33I, so distribution factor is 1. Since this is I by 3 and this is 0.833I, so let us calculate the distribution factor. 0.33 divided by 0.83, that comes out to be, distribution factor comes out to be 0.397, that I consider as 0.4. Distribution factor naturally is 1.5 divided by 3, that is equal to 0.5 divided by 0.83, that comes out to be 0.602, that I consider 0.6. So I will just overall 1.4, 0.6. Now since it is 0.5 and 0.5, so distribution factor also will be 0.5 and 0.5 because everybody has contributed the same thing. It has also contributed 0.5, it has also contributed 0.5, total is 1. So that's why total is 0.5 and 0.5 and this is 1. You must remember that summation of the distribution factor at every joint should be equal to 1. Summation of the distribution factor at every joint should be equal to 1. So this is the summation of distribution factor at joint B. This is the summation of distribution factor at joint C. So this is equal to 1. Now we'll see step 2. We know step 2 is determination of fixed end moments. Fixed end moments. Step 2 is determination of fixed end moments. So what are the fixed end moments? For AB, if I fix end A and end B, it is 6 kilonewton per meter. This is for 3 meters A and B. So my fixed end moment in the portion AB will be WL square by 12. So if I calculate, W is 6, L is 9 divided by 12. So W is 6, L is 9, 3 square divided by 12. That comes out to be 4.5. So this is 4.5 kilonewton meter. This is 4.5 kilonewton meter. So I can write MFAB, fixed end moment AB, is minus 4.5, because I know the sign convention in moment distribution is anti-clockwise negative and clockwise positive. So MFBA is equal to plus 4.5 kilonewton meter. Now, what is the fixed end moment for the portion BC? Yes, for the portion BC, the fixed end moment is like this. This is eccentric load 18 kilonewtons, which is acting at a distance 2 meter and 1 meter. This is B, this is C. So fixed end moment AB is, now I can calculate fixed end moment BC. Fixed end moment BC is WAB square upon L square, WBS L square upon L square. So W is 18, A is 2, B is 1. So W into A 2 into 1 square, B square, that is 1 square, divided by L square is 9. Don't forget, L square is 9. So that comes out to be 4 kilonewton meter. Now naturally, if it is dividing this ratio by 1:2, this must be 8 kilonewton meter, because the ratio of this lengths divided by the load is 1:2, and the load is farther from B. So definitely there will be lesser moment at B, and definitely there will be more moment at B. Let us consider what happens. It is WBA square upon L square. It is 18 into 1 into 2 square 4 divided by 9 L square. That comes out to be 8, as was expected by all of us. It is 8 kilonewton meter. So I can write now MFBC, fixed end moment BC, MFBC is equal to minus 4 kilonewton meter, and MFCB is equal to plus 8 kilonewton meter. So this is how I have calculated the fixed end moments. Now last fixed end moment, that is the fixed end moment about portion in the portion CD. Now I am drawing CD, I am fixing CD, C and D. This is the load acting 16 kilonewton meter. It is acting at the center of CD. I know this is 1.5 meters and 1.5 meters. Okay. So I know the formula for moment. If the moment is acting at the center, both the fixed end moments will be m by 4. So it is m by 4, that is 16 by 4. That comes out to be 4 kilonewton meter, and it is, both are acting clockwise. So 4 kilonewton meter. Since this is acting clockwise, since the given moment is acting clockwise, both the moments will be clockwise, and the value of both the moments will be m by 4 despite of the length. It doesn't have to do anything with the length given. It is m by 4 always. So it is 4 kilonewton meter, 4 kilonewton meter. So I can write fixed end moment CD, MFCD, fixed end moment CD, MFCD is equal to plus 4 kilonewton meter, and MFDC is equal to plus 4 kilonewton meter, both plus, because both are clockwise. Because the central moment, acting moment is clockwise, both the fixed end moments will be clockwise, and the magnitude of the fixed end moment will be m by 4. It doesn't have to do anything with the length. If it is acting at a center, it is m by 4 always. Okay friends, now we will distribute the moment. Now this is the moment distribution table. This is the step 3. Step 3 is moment distribution table. I have already plotted this to avoid your wastage of time. It is moment distribution table. Okay, the step 3 is moment distribution table. I have just plotted various columns. Moment distribution table, that is joint A, B, C, D, member AB, BA, AB for joint A, BA, BC for joint B, CB, CD for joint C, and DC for joint D. Distribution factor for AB and DC is 1. I have already calculated this. We have already calculated distribution factor for AB and DC is 1. For BA and BC is 0.4, 0.6. For CB and CD, it is 0.5, 0.5. That is what I have written. And fixed end moments also we have calculated in our previous discussion. Fixed end moment AB is minus 4.5, BC is plus 4.5, BA is plus 4.5, BC is minus 4, CB is plus 8, CD is plus 4 and DC is plus 4, right? This is what we have seen fixed end moment. Now my friends, last time we have balanced the joint. Now this is a problem when one of the joints is hinged. Let me show you the problem. Let me show you the numerical. Joint D is hinged, and that is why the first step in the moment distribution is to balance this external joint. Before balancing the internal joint, last time we have not balanced this, we have not carried out this test because joint A and joint D both were fixed. Last time we have not carried out this test because joint A and joint D both were fixed. Now this time we must see that one of the ends is hinged. If end A is also hinged, we have to carry out this step first for both end A and end D. Now here end D is only hinged end. So this is the special step we have to carry out for end D. Now look at end D. What is the moment in the portion DC? What is the total moment at D? Total moment at D is plus 4. Now what should be the moment at D? Because end D is hinged, total moment at D should be equal to 0. So I have to balance this moment. So first balancing the end support. This we have not carried out. I have to apply minus 4. If I apply minus 4 balance at D, the total moment at D will be equal to 0. This is the first step we need to carry out. Don't forget, if one of the ends is hinged or if both the ends are hinged, we need to carry out this first step, that we have to apply the balance at the end joints equal and opposite to the applied moment, applied fixed end moment. So if I apply minus 4 at D, it will be minus 4 plus 4 D. Now next step to balance is carry over. So carry over from D to CD, from D to joint C will be half, because joint C is fixed. Joint C is considered to be fixed. Even though it is hinged, it is considered to be fixed. So this is the first step I need to carry out, that is balancing the end joint by applying equal and opposite moment to the fixed end moment. Fixed end moment is plus 4, so I have applied minus 4, and now henceforth I will carry out all these steps as I have carried out in my previous example. Now see, what is the total moment acting at joint B? Total moment acting at joint B is plus 4.5 minus 4, it is plus 0.5. So if I apply, now I am applying balance to the internal joints. First I have applied balance to the external joint, got out carried over. I know joint B is a hinge joint. Total sum of moment at joint B should be equal to 0. Now at present it is plus 0.5 excess. So if I apply minus 0.5 balance at joint B, it is minus 0.5 minus 0.4 plus 4.5, total sum of moment at B equal to 0. So I will apply minus 0.5 as release moment, as balance moment at B, at joint B. Similarly, what is the total moment at C now? See, 8 plus 4, that is 12, minus this 2 which is carried over by balancing the joint D. So 8 plus 4, 12 minus 2. So total moment acting is 10. If I apply minus 10, minus 10 at C. Now look at this, if I apply minus 10, then minus 10 minus 2 plus 8 plus 4. Total sum of moment acting at C should be equal to 0, because C is hinge. Total sum of moment acting at C should be equal to 0. So this is the balance. This step we have carried out in our last example also. In our last numerical also, this step we have carried out. The latest step or new step in this numerical is balancing the end joint D by applying equal and opposite moment, because end joint C should carry 0 moment. This step should be carried out first and rest of the steps should be carried out last. So I have balanced this joint D first, got its carry over at C, and now I am balancing joint C. Now next point is very simple, distribution. This is the first iteration now. This is not an iteration, you should not consider this as an iteration. So distribution for this. Now 0.5 into 0.4, that is minus 0.2, and 0.5 into 0.6, that is minus 0.3. That can be distributed. Total should be 0.5. I have distributed this. Now minus 10 into 0.5, that comes out to be minus 5 and minus 5. This is how I have carried out the distribution. I know if I take a summation after distribution, all the joints will be balanced, but carryover plays the spoil sport. Carryover gadbad kar deta hai. Now what shall be the carryover from BA towards A? A is fixed, so minus 0.1 half will be carried over. What is the carryover from CD towards D? Yes, any answers? What is the carryover from CD towards D? Yes, you have just did right. 0, because D is hinged end. What is the carryover from BC towards C? It is half, that is minus 0.15. What is the carryover from CB towards B? It is half, that is minus 2.5. So here ends my first iteration. My first iteration ends over here. Now my friends, I will carry out second iteration. This is my first iteration. Before my first iteration, I have balanced my external hinge joints and got its carryover. Now, what is the imbalance at B? What is the imbalance at B? This is the imbalance at B. So I must apply balance moment equal to 2.5. Now, minus 2.5 is the acting moment. If I apply 2.5, total sum of moment at B will be equal to 0. What is the imbalance at C? This is the imbalance at C. If I apply plus 0.15 at C, it will be balanced. It is the imbalance moment. It is minus 0.15. If I apply plus 0.15 at B, at C, it will be balanced. Now, again I am distributing. Next step is distribution. This is the second iteration I am carrying out. So distribution for second iteration. Look at this. 2.5 into 0.4. I am just carrying out 2.5 into 0.4. 2.5 into 0.4, that comes out to be 1. So it is plus 1, and 2.5 into 0.6, it is plus 1.5. This is the carryover. Let us carry out 2.5 into 0.6, that comes out to be 3 by 2, that is 1.5. Similarly, minus 0.15 into 0.5, so plus 0.15 into 0.15, that is 0.75. 0.15 into divided by 2, 0.15 divided by 2, that comes out to be 0.075 plus 0.075, equal distribution in CB and CD. So I have distributed this 2.5 in BA and BC. I have distributed this 0.15 in CB and CD. Now, if I take summation after this distribution, I know joints are balanced, but I must take a carryover till the third iteration. This is my second iteration. So half will be carried over since A is fixed. It is plus 0.5. 0 will be carried over at D because D is hinged. 0. Half will be carried over. It is plus 0.75. Half will be carried over. It is plus 0.038. I will take only two decimals plus 0.038. Half will be carried over. This is my second iteration. Now I will carry out my third iteration. For my third iteration, look at this. What is the balance I need to apply again? Why this imbalance is created? Imbalance is created due to the carryover. Now what is the balance? This is the imbalance 0.03 over. Otherwise it was 0. If I would have taken summation after distribution, everything would have balanced. This carryover has created imbalance. So I should apply 0.038 as a balance moment minus 0.038. So that total moment acting at B is equal to 0. And what is the total moment acting at C should be equal to 0. If I apply 0.75 at C, I will take total moment acting at C is equal to 0, because after this step, after this distribution, everything was balanced. But due to this carryover from B to C, this has created imbalance. So I should apply balance moment equal to minus 0.75. Right? So I have applied this. Now last step I will carry out in the third iteration as distribution. So I am carrying out distribution in the third iteration, and all of us know after distribution we have to stop. We don't have to carry over, because if we carry over, we can carry it over till the carryover is 0, but it is not practically possible. Human limits are there. So we will restrict ourselves only up to 3 iterations, and that is what is expected at undergraduate level. So minus 0.038 into 0.4. So 0.038 into 0.4, that comes out to be 0.0 minus 0.015. Now naturally 0.038 into 0.6, that comes out to be minus 0.023, minus 0.023. Now 0.75 divided by 2, that comes out to be 0.375. So this is minus 0.375 and minus 0.375. Equally, in CB and CD because distribution factor is 0.5 and 0.5. And at third iteration, I will stop at distribution. I will stop at distribution and I will take the total moments, or that I can call as total moments, or that I can call as end moments. That I can call as end moments. I will sum up total moments or end moments. Now all of us know how can we calculate total moments? What shall we calculate in total moments? We have to take all fixed end moments, all distributions and all carryovers. So for this member AB, total moment is, I will calculate over here, it is minus 4.5 here, minus 0.1 this, plus 0.5 this. So that comes out to be minus 4.1. So total moment is minus 4.1 in the portion AB. Now for BA, what I shall calculate? This is fixed end moment, all distributions and all carryovers if possible. So this I should calculate. So I should calculate for BC, it is 4.5 minus 0.2 plus 1 minus 0.015. Look at this. 4.5 minus 0.2 plus 1 minus 0.015, that comes out to be 5.285. So that is plus 5.285 for the portion BA. This is AB, this is BA. Now for BC what I should calculate? All fixed end moments, all distributions, all carryovers. So fixed end moments, again for BC, concentrate over here, it is minus 4, minus 0.3, minus 2.5, plus 1.5, plus 0.038, minus 0.023. That comes out to be minus 5.285. It must match. It must match because after distribution, this is BC. We know fixed end moment between BA and BC should be equal and opposite. They are equal and opposite. This means our calculations are correct. For BA, it is plus 5.285. For BC, it is minus 5.285. It is balanced. I should calculate all the fixed end moments, all the distributions and all the carryovers. That is what is written in blue color. I should calculate. What is written in red color, that is for my understanding. I will not calculate them for calculation of final end moments. Now for portion CB. For portion CB, I should calculate this 8, that is fixed end moment 8, okay, minus 5, minus 0.15, this is distribution, this is carryover, plus 0.075, this is again distribution, plus 0.75, this is carryover, and this is last distribution, minus 0.03, minus 0.375, minus 0.375, that comes out to be 3.3 plus 3.3 plus 3.3 in the portion CB, in the portion CB. Now for CD, I will calculate all the distributions, all the carryovers. This is plus 4, minus 2, minus 5, plus 0.075, minus 0.375. That comes out to be again minus 3.3. We know summation of moment acting at C should be equal to 0. CB and CD should be equal and opposite. It is CB and CD are equal and opposite. And what is the sum of moment acting at D? It should be equal to 0 because D is an external joint. We have made it first step, we should make it. This is the step, that is the difference. Last numerical and this numerical, this is the difference. In last numerical, we have not carried out this step. We have directly balanced the joints, internal joints. But in this numerical, we have to balance. If external joint is hinged, we have to balance it first and then we have to carry out rest of the steps. Balance and carry over that external joint, and then we have to carry out. Every time the carry over to the external joint was 0, so sum of the moments acting at D is 0. So MDC should be equal to 0. That is what we have achieved. Now my friends, pay attention. I am just drawing the original structure and I am showing the end moments over it. It is hinged at B, hinged at C and hinged at D, right? It was 6 kilonewton per meter acting on AB 18 kilonewton acting eccentrically and is 16 kilonewton meter acting at a center at CD. I know this is 1.5 and 1.5, 1.5 meter and 1.5 meter. This is 2 meter and 1 meter, and this is 3 meters. I know this is A, this is B, C and D. I know these. Now I will represent these end moments on the structure. End moment for AB 4.1 minus means anti-clockwise. So I am writing 4.1 kilonewton meter. For BA it is plus 5.285. So I am writing plus 5.285 means clockwise. For BC it is minus 5.285, that is anti-clockwise. So 5.285 kilonewton meter anti-clockwise. For CB it is plus 3. For CD it is minus 3.3. So 3.3 kilonewton meter balanced. Summation of moment acting at C should be equal to 0. So this is what we have achieved, and at D it is 0 kilonewton meter. That is what we wanted. At D external moment should be equal to 0. At this BC, at this C and B, total sum of moments will be equal to 0, but portion in the BA will exist and portion in BC will exist. They will be equal and opposite. So that is what we have achieved. Now my friends, this is the representation of end moments, that is step 4. Representation of end moments on the given structure. So can you not plot the bending moment diagram of it? Yes, we can plot the bending moment diagram. We have seen there are two methods. One is overlapping the end moments with the simply supported moments, and second method is drawing the bending moment diagram. On tension side, I have introduced both the methods to you in the previous semester, so we can plot the bending moment diagram for this same. So I hope you have understood this particular method. In this numerical, what happened? We have to balance joint D, which is the external joint, and hinge joint first. If in case A is also hinge joints, then in the first step we would have balanced A also and D also and carried out the carryover factors from AB to B and DC to C simultaneously before going for next steps. That is, we have carried out in our earlier examples when both the ends A and D were fixed. I hope this is understood by you. In our next discussion, we will take another numerical when both the ends are hinged and are loaded with some typical loads like triangular load or trapezoidal load.